Okay, so Genshin is in a little bit of a hot spot today. Genshin Impact game developer will be banned from selling loot boxes to teens under 16 without parental consent. Pay a $20 million fine to settle FTC charges. Oof. But, let's go a little deeper into this. Game developer Cognisphere allegedly unfairly marketed loot boxes to children that obscured real costs and misled all players about the odds of up. Hold on. That's not true. They tell you the odds in game. Yeah, they tell you the odds in game, and it's really, really low. Obscured real cost. How do you obscure the costs? It's right there in the shopping thing how expensive it is. Also, I forgot to turn on the chill music. Sorry about that. Now we have the chill music on. Okay, let's read this. Can you guys read this, or is it too obscured for you guys? The maker of the video game Genshin Impact has agreed to pay $20 million and to block children from under 16 from making in-game purchases without parental consent. I mean, personally, I don't think kids should be playing Genshin Impact and having a way to access paid purchases to begin with. Against the company violated a children's privacy law and deceived children and other users about the real cost of game transactions and odds of obtaining rare prizes. No, I'm sorry, that's just not true. Again, you can clearly see when you go in the in-game shop to purchase the Genesis crystals, it says flat out $100, $50, stuff like that. So I don't know where it's coming from that. And there's also another thing I'll mention once I read through all of this, because there's something about this that in a vacuum this is good, but there's also something I'll mention later that is kind of bullcrap. Genshin Impact deceived teens and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes and stood little chance of winning. Director of FUC's, companies that deploy these dark pattern tactics will be held accountable if they deceive players, particularly kids and teens, about the true cost of... But it doesn't deceive them! It doesn't deceive them! Like, I'm all for stopping kids from being able to make in-game purchases with Genshin Impact, but that's just not true. That is a lie. It tells you the rates. If you go on the banner and look at it, it tells you the rates. If you go on the purchase store, it tells you how much it is. There's no deception. A complaint filed by the Department of Justice upon referral from the commission alleged that Singapore-based LTD and its California-based subsidiary, which do business in the United States as Hoyoverse. The complaint further charged that Hoyoverse deceived players about the odds of winning particular sought-after 5-star loot box prizes and how much it would cost to open loot boxes to win the prizes. It also alleged the confusing virtual currency system that players had to navigate to open loot boxes and the marketing and promotion tactic. There's nothing confusing about it. You can't purchase things without Primo Gems. And Genesis crystals is the premium currency. And you can only get the premium currency by spending. It also alleged that the confusing had to navigate and the marketing and promotion tactics used to entice players to open loot boxes were unfair to children and teenagers. Again, I've got something major to say at the end of this. Popular among children and teens, Genshin Impact is free to download but has generated significant revenue through the sales of virtual currency and other content. Players advance in the game by collecting virtual heroes, forming a team, and using heroes' abilities to complete tasks. 5-star heroes are the most desirable to collect given their powers, and they can only be obtained by opening loot boxes, which players can purchase using virtual currency. The complaint alleges that Genshin Impact's purchasing process obscures the reality that consumers commonly must spend large amounts of real money to obtain 5-star prizes, or you can save, and that children have spent hundreds or even thousands of dollars to win them. That's called poor parenting! Why are you letting your kid access your credit card? It's not that hard. You have the kid go up and ask you, can you spend this much money so I can possibly get this character? No? Aw, okay. The complaints allege that the system is challenging and confusing. No, it's not! If a dumbass like me can figure it out, children can figure it out. And yes, that is kind of a mock at my intelligence. I'm not that smart. Or at least it takes me a while to catch on to things. Challenging and confusing, particularly for children and teens. Players must exchange real dollars for bundles of virtual currency that then have to be re-exchanged multiple times to open loot boxes. Multiple times. You buy the Genesis crystals, then you convert them to Primo Gems. 1 Genesis crystal equals 1 Primo Gem. If it was a system like, 5 Genesis crystals equals, I don't know, 30 Primo Gems, that would, the argument would have some value, but it is not confusing. Must exchange real dollars for bundles of virtual currency that then have to be re-exchanged multiple times to open loot boxes with exchange rates in unusual denominate. No, it's not! This complicated system, according to the complaint, misleds consumers about the amount of money that players spend on loot boxes in an ongoing basis, and the amount of money that players would likely need to spend to obtain certain prizes. Okay. That was weird. Thought I heard something. Hoyoverse drives consumer demand for Genshin Impact's loot boxes through several promotional channels inside and outside the game, which advertise that desirable prizes will be available only on a limited basis, according to the complaint. Now that part is actually true. This includes using virtual in-game event banners to promote these limited time prizes and social media influencers to glamorize the excitement of opening loot boxes. I don't particularly like how that's phrased, because that makes it sound like it's actually content creators' fault. Genshin Impact uses anime-style cartoon graphics, bright and colorful animation, and several characters who have the speech or appearance of children to appeal to children. There are not that many lolly characters in-game. Hoyoverse has spent millions of dollars hiring social media influencers, many of whom are popular with children. Not children, teenagers. And if there are kids watching watching Genshin content creators, except for the purposes of guide makers. They shouldn't be doing that. To promote Genshin Impact to the respective... Oh my gosh, Tectone. Tectone is going to have a field day with this, and he won't shut up about it for so long. To promote Genshin Impact to their respective audiences on social media impacts, including YouTube, TikTok, and the video game streaming site Twitch. The complaint alleges that the company's event bankers and influencer campaigns give players the impression that they will have better odds of obtaining the 5-star prize being promoted than they have in reality. How? How? Because even when these content creators do these big gacha summonings, there's many times where people can see them going to hard pity. Hard pity. And them just being filled with regret. If anything, that further convinces people don't spend. And not to mention, when content creators do get lucky, they always say, don't do this, guys. Don't do this. This is not the normal. This is not the normal. Content creators are not responsible for this. They have better odds. Okay. In addition to unfairly marketing loot boxes to children, the complaint alleges that Hoyoverse failed to comply with COPA rule, which requires online services and websites directed to children under 13 to notify parents about the personal information they collect and to obtain verifiable parental consent before collecting and using any personal information collected from children. That one might be one that they are actually right on. I can't guarantee it, but that one might actually be right. Online services and websites directed to children under... Well, it's not directed towards children. It's just rated E for everyone. I think. Is it rated E or E10? I'm pretty sure it's E. But the personal information they collect... The complaint alleges that Genshin Impact is a child-directed online service that collects personal information from children under 13 and therefore is required by COPA to notify parents about the information they collect about children and obtain their consent for the collection of the personal data. The complaint, however, alleges that even though Hoyoverse was aware that children under 13 were using its service. I will come back to this one when we're done. Don't worry. It continued to collect personal information from children and use it without obtaining parental consent or complying with other COPA requirements. Hoyoverse shared with third-party analytics firm and advertisers user's ID as well as device-related pessimant identifiers to track player progress, purchase setting, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this one, they might actually have something. Under the proposed order, which must be approved by the federal judge before it can go into effect, will be required to pay a $20 million penalty. Honestly, for Hoyoverse, they can pay that. And make changes to address the allegations outlined in the complaint. The companies will be prohibited from allowing children under 16 to purchase loot boxes in their video games without a parent's affirmative express consent. That's something that should have been done already. Again, this just comes down to bad parenting. Prohibited from selling loot boxes using virtual currency without providing an option for consumers to purchase... Wait a minute, what? Prohibited from allowing children under 16 to purchase loot boxes in their video games without a parent's affirmative express consent. Prohibited from selling loot boxes using virtual currency without providing an option for consumers to purchase them directly with real money. That's what they do! That's what the Genesis crystals are for! The Primo Gems is something anyone can obtain. Free to play, whales, whatever. But Genesis crystals can only be obtained through spenders. There is no way in-game to get Genesis crystals without spending. So they're already doing that. If anything, that just makes it easier for people to identify who's spent and who hasn't. Prohibited from misrepresenting loot boxes, odds, prices. They already do that! They literally show the chances of you getting the character. They already show the prices. They already show what you get when you buy. Required to disclose loot box odds and exchange rates for multi-tiered virtual... Again, they already do that. Required to delete any personal information previously collected from children under 13 unless they obtain parental consent to retain such data. That one, maybe. I'm not getting into that one. Required to comply with COPA, including its notice and consent requirements. The commission vote to refer the complaint and This doesn't matter. The commission authorized the The commission authorizes the filing of a complaint when it has reason to believe that the named defendant is violating or is about to violate the law. FTC will never demand money, make threats, tell you to transfer money, or... Why is this last part here? The Federal Trade Commission works to promote competition and protect and educate consumers. FTC will never demand money, make threats, tell you to transfer money, or promise you a prize. Why is that last part included? Okay. Now, all of this would be fine. All of it would be fine. And I'd be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Except for this! Okay, EA Sports. Let me type it correctly. EA Sports gambling. Okay. EA under criminal invest. Okay, that was 6 years ago. That doesn't matter. FIFA loot box. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna have to search it here. FIFA loot boxes. Why is Genshin only being affected by this? When we have so much worse coming from EA, who is so much more predatory, so much more confusing with its virtual currency and the premium currency. Look, I agree. Genshin should not be... I think Genshin can be played by kids as long as they're not, you know, purchasing things. But why is it that the government is only going after Genshin when there are so many American things that kids play as well? Like FIFA. What is it rated? What is FIFA rated? What is the newest FIFA called? What is the newest FIFA? FIFA age rating. Gosh darn it. Why can't I find... Why can't I... For Pete's sake. FIFA box art. Oh my gosh, I've had enough of this. FIFA 2025. FIFA 20... I can't spell clearly. FIFA 2025. Genshin's rated teen? I actually didn't know that. I thought it was rated E. Look at this. FIFA is rated E. FIFA 2024. Okay. FIFA 2024 loot boxes. And it's still here. Electronic Arts defends FIFA loot boxes, calling them part of a game that players love. Overseas company bias for real. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Look, if you're gonna come after Genshin for this shit, you can't apply it selectively. Okay? You gotta apply this to the real dangerous games, like FIFA. Come on. This is only because Genshin is outside of America. We all agree on that, right? If this were truly for the kids, the FTC would actually be going after all of the companies that are doing this. I'm all for stopping kids I'm all for stopping kids from engaging in, spending on a gacha game. Because kids should not be spending on a gacha game. They just shouldn't. So yeah. Parents... having more parental things for Genshin for kids, I'm not against. But the fact that the FTC is going after Genshin, but it's ignoring all of the Western gambling games with literal loot boxes. Actually, wait, no. FIFA slot machine. Look at this. There are literal slot machines in FIFA. Literal slot machine. That is a kid there. At least that looks like a kid. I don't know. But look at this. Look at this shit. Yeah, EA could honestly be under fire for more than just their loot box. Oh, I absolutely agree. But look. The FTC is only doing this because it's a Chinese company. But they won't dare touch EA. NBA 2K. Oh yeah, they're just as bad. Also had a trailer with gambling-related energy. This is ridiculous. It's got good intentions, but I'm calling out the overseas bias. 'Cause this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. I am all for them adding in Genshin a way where kids can't spend money without parental consent. If that wasn't already in there, I'm all for it. But Genshin shows the rates. It shows how much everything costs. It clearly says in there, it clearly says when you're buying things, it says in your country's currency how much things cost. You click on it, and then it tells you, oh, do you want to spend with like your credit card or something? This is just stupid. Again, it's the double standards that has me pissed the most. Because you've got FIFA and NBA 2K, which are far more predatory towards kids. Far more predatory. Because you got these games rated E that everyone can purchase. That kids are gonna play with their friends. This is far more disgusting. Gosh darn, I know. Look, FTC, you gotta apply this fairly, okay? You can't just do it because it's an overseas company. And again, lying and saying that Hoyoverse isn't transparent about this shit is just wrong. The only slight argument you could make on not revealing the rates of the characters is, oh, you have to go into you have to click on the banner itself to realize the rates, which isn't as transparent, but that's how every other gacha does it. The only way I could see them making it better is if they say, oh, 1% chance. Like on the banner itself or something. They're transparent about that. They're transparent about how much it takes to pity. Gosh. This was stupid. Okay, I got my thoughts out on what I think about this, cause man. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.